Vulture, hello and welcome to Keith's Whisky Vlog. My name is, you've guessed it, my name is Keith, and as well as here on YouTube, you can follow me on Instagram at Whisky Tour Guide Keith, all one word. So check me out, check out my other videos. If you like this, like and subscribe, leave comments, let me know what you think. Now, this is a tasting video, and I have here the golden tube, specially constructed by my good lady wife. Mystery, what is in here? What are we tasting today? Well, it is going to be a Laphroaig. You've guessed it. Now, this is an unusual Laphroaig that we're going to taste today, because it's often described as the Laphroaig for people who don't like Laphroaig. If you like Laphroaig, the 10-year-old, say, the quarter cask, then you might not like this. If you don't like the 10-year-old and the quarter cask, then you might like this. So whisky experts, people in the know, will already be aware what I'm talking about. It's not a full-size bottle, it's one of the samples that I got. Get rid of that, let's get that out of the way. I got a little sample pack recently from the Master of Malt website, which I'd highly recommend. As well as the full-size bottles, you can get little samples. So I got a little set of 5, and one of them was the Laphroaig Triple Wood. So I'm going to do a tasting of the Laphroaig Triple Wood for you. I have had it before, but a long time ago. I can't really remember too much about it. So this won't be 100% fresh, but not too far off. Now, the Laphroaig distillery, one of the classic distilleries on Islay. It's part of it's just to the east of Portellen. I'm sure you know where Islay is, but we'll go to the map with the Whisky Tour Guide Keith pointer. Scotland. And Islay is this island here off the west coast. In the very south, you've got the village of Portellen. And if you head east from Portellen, there is a walkway known as the 3 Distilleries. I think it's the path. 3 Distilleries walk, 3 Distilleries path. Guess how many distilleries are on that path? And the first one you come to is Laphroaig, just before Lagavulin and Ardbeg. Beautiful distillery. It's the smokiest, peatiest, generally speaking, on Islay. So the Triple Wood, it's Triple Wood, 3 wood, been matured 3 times. First of all, in the bourbon barrels, just like the Laphroaig 10 years old, just like the quarter cask. But then it gets put into quarter casks, so those are smaller casks, it's more intense, still bourbon, and then they finish it off in European Oloroso sherry casks. So triple matured, if you like, and a bit darker in colour. Maybe you can see here. You'll see it once it's into the glass. Why are we wasting time? Let's get it into the glass. My trusty blade. Take the wax seal off. Now this one comes in at quite a hefty 48% single malt. I'm a bit of a single malt snob, I'm afraid. So right up my street. It's not quite a cork, but lovely. The smells of Laphroaig, smells of Islay whiskey. Get the colour on this, so it's got that real sherry cask coloration. I believe this is non-chill filtered, so the 10-year-old Laphroaig is chill filtered. The quarter cask Laphroaig that I mentioned is not chill filtered, and this is not chill filtered either. So generally when you add the water, it can become a bit cloudy. That's the sort of the most obvious way of being able to tell if something is chill filtered or not. Now, I believe it's about £45 a bottle for this, so it's a decent enough price. It's a little bit more than your standard 10-year-old. 2019, I think it is. Every year Laphroaig issue their festival bottle, Fashila, the Islay Whisky Festival. All the distilleries release at least 1, maybe 2, sometimes 3 now, limited edition bottles of whisky, and every year the Laphroaig version is the Cargus. Yeah, I've got a couple of Cargus expressions up here. That's the quarter cask, that'll maybe be, I think that was 2018, I think it was, and the Fino sherry cask one was 2017, one was 2018. I forget which was which. 2019 was a Cargis Triple Wood. So basically cask strength. So this one's 48%. It's quite meaty as it comes, but check out the Cargis Triple Wood. I think Cargis, it's Gaelic, just like the name Laphroaig, or it comes from Gaelic anyway. Cargis, I believe, I don't speak Gaelic, but Cargis I think means friendship. So quite a friendly bunch at Laphroaig. Right, time for a little tasting. As usual, I will do the nose, then I will do a little taste in the mouth. As I say, where else are you going to taste it? And then we'll add a little bit of water from my trusty Laphroaig jug. Love this jug. Right, on the nose. It's definitely got the strength. You can smell that. It's got this, first thing I get is sweetness, even ahead of the smoke. There's a bit of smoke there and a bit of peat, but the first real note is the sweetness. It's lovely, really nice. Contradicting myself a little bit. As I said, this is like a Laphroaig for people who don't like the 10, the quarter cask. I like the 10, the quarter cask. I think I'm going to like this as well. It's beautiful. It's almost a little bit sort of buttery toffee, a little bit sort of fudge, that sort of light toffee. But there is a thickness as well in the nostrils. So it's, yeah, buttery fudge. It's got almost yeah, but a bit treacly, I would say as well. So that's probably coming from the sherry cask, the third maturation. Really nice, really interesting. What was it the last time? Have I got it? Yeah, you might be able to see up here. This little green hip flask. This is quite a renowned whiskey bar from Portland, Oregon, over in the good old US of A, and it's the Multnomah Whiskey Library. So hello Ed, if you're calling, if you're watching. But when I went to Islay, I took them over in 2019. Fantastic little visit we did, and we did a warehouse tasting at Laphroaig. Different casks. We did a couple of sherry casks, and it's really reminiscent of, I think it was what was the one? I think it was Amontillado, I think it is, if I remember the pronunciation. But that's what that immediately reminds me of. A sherry cask in the warehouse at Laphroaig. Absolutely beautiful. Yes, right. So, sweet in the nose, bit fruity, buttery, bit of toffee, almost a little bit of treacle, nice and thick. On the palate. Again, you're expecting that Laphroaig, the burntness, the charred, but it's got a touch of that, but it's wood that you get. So again, triple wood, it's very well named. Certainly wood. More treacly as well. Quite thick, quite deep. I don't know how something can taste dark, but it tastes dark. Deep and dark. Although it doesn't taste of things. Although it doesn't taste burnt, I'm getting a little bit of the burnt on my tongue, even though it doesn't taste burnt, and that's where you taste. But there you go. And a real dark, deep, sugary bit of sweetness as well. Really, really interesting. That's it's a lot less boisterous, if you like, than your standard Laphroaigs, certainly your 10 and your quarter cask. Okay, we'll chuck in a little bit of water. Not going to put in too much. We'll get a couple of drops. Now with the 10-year-old and the quarter cask, when you add the water, you can really see the interaction of it. I'm seeing a bit more that time, watching the oiliness of the whiskey, and then the water as they sort of compete, I suppose, with each other. Right, this will be very interesting. Don't know what's going to happen now. Give it a nice swirl. It's calmed a little bit. It's almost a bit of sort of cedar wood. Again, it's not too much of the burnt wood. More of that sort of, not lavender, but more of a sort of scented, a bit more floral, I suppose. Still that sweet sherry. It's really opened a lot of power. You can maybe even see, I'm not sure I'm looking, but that was not quite eye-watering, but not far off. That was a real poof, bomb of flavour. But again, intense wood. Again, not much of the burnt wood. What you're starting to look at here is, again, it's the strength. If I tasted that with water, I wouldn't believe you if you said it was only 48%. That's got a real strength to it now. Still the sweetness, more intense, treacle, not so much of the fudge, which was the lighter sweetness, the almost a sort of crumbliness from earlier, but much richer. Like wood that's been painted black. It's the best way. I don't know what black paint tastes like, or if it tastes different from any other paint, but there you go. Black wood, dark wood, deep and dark. Well, very interesting. Hopefully that's intrigued you with the triple wood. I would never put you off anything from Islay. Try it. Certainly they're my favourites. I'm not going to pretend that I have the definitive whisky palate or the definitive whisky opinion, but I would highly recommend you give them a try. Now, before I go, I am also going to recommend some whiskies that are in the same sort of area, in my humble opinion anyway. So over on my shelf I have selected for you two of the ones that I've mentioned, the two Laphroaigs on the wings here, the Laphroaig Quarter Cask, 48% as well. So that's like a stage before, that's the second stage. This is triple wood. So you've got the bourbon, the quarter cask, then the sherry cask. This is just the bourbon and the quarter cask. And here you've got the Laphroaig 10 years old, which is the first stage. Now it is older, so it's been matured for longer, but that's just the bourbon the whole way through, matured at 10 years minimum. So try either of the Laphroaigs, part of the core range. You've also got so you've got the Laphroaig 10-year-old quarter cask triple wood, you've got the lower, and you've got the select reserve. That's your 5 standard core range in Laphroaig. I think they've sort of reconvened or reintroduced the 15-year-old. Now I mentioned the Cargus here just to confuse people. Instead of just calling it the Laphroaig 15 years old, they've called it the Laphroaig 15 years old Cargus. So that's one Cargus that is not limited edition. So the 15-year-old, part of the core range, you'll see Cargus on the bottle, but not an annual limited release like these ones. So try any of the core range, but specifically these two, the quarter cask or the 10-year-old. And in the middle there you'll see also the Ardbeg 10 years old. So all in a similar sort of area, I would say, on the palate to this. So give them a try them all, let me know what you think. That's me for just now. So I bid you adieu, cheers and slàinte mhath.